You know what nobody ever warns you about when it comes to prenuptial agreements. They're supposed to protect both partners, but sometimes one of them turns out to be much sharper than you ever imagined. Before we dive into this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it. My name is Claire, I'm 29, and I just discovered the hard way that my husband, Michael, had been playing a game I didn't even realize we were in. 10 years. 10 years of marriage where I thought I was in control, only to find out I had been outsmarted every step of the way. From the outside, my life looked flawless. A solid marriage to a respectable man who supported my career, parents who were finally proud of my choices, and then there was Julian, still in my life, still the love I couldn't let go of. I thought I had it all, the safe husband, the supportive family, and the man I truly wanted. I convinced myself I deserved it. Back in college, my parents forced me into a corner. I'd been with Julian since high school. We were inseparable, understood each other in ways no one else could, but my parents despised him. They said he was aimless, a distraction, a dead end. They threatened to cut me off financially if I didn't end things. My trust fund, my future, all of it was on the line. So, I made a choice. I met Michael a few months later, through mutual friends. He was studying finance, came from a family my parents approved of, and they loved him instantly. To them, he was everything Julian wasn't. The truth, though, was that I never actually broke up with Julian. We just went underground. To my parents, I was moving on. To Michael, I was the devoted girlfriend who had chosen him. And to myself, I was being clever, holding on to both men, securing my future while keeping the love I craved. 2 years later, Michael proposed. My parents were ecstatic. His family was thrilled. And Julian, he understood. He told me he knew I had to do what was best for my future. The prenup was my parents' idea. If we divorced before 10 years, I'd keep my family's money and assets, and Michael would walk away with nothing. After 10 years, everything would be split 50-50, unless the divorce was his fault. They figured a decade was enough proof that the marriage was legitimate. At first, Michael was the picture of a supportive husband. He encouraged my consulting career, never complained when I traveled for work, and gave me all the independence I wanted. What I see now is that he was giving me rope enough to hang myself with. Every business trip became an excuse to see Julian. Every late night at the office was a chance to text him freely. Every supposed girls' weekend was really a getaway with him. Julian had moved a couple of hours away for his own job. But we found ways to make it work: hotel rooms, secret lunches, hidden weekends. I mastered the art of deception, and I never felt guilty. Not once. Maybe that makes me awful, but I justified it by telling myself my parents had forced me into this impossible situation. This was my way of balancing everything. Michael got a stable wife, my parents got their perfect son-in-law, and Julian got my heart. Everyone won. For 8 years, I juggled it flawlessly. Michael rose in his career, I built a strong client base, and Julian bought a beautiful house where we could spend time together. I even had a separate credit card for Julian-related expenses and a fake email account to manage our secret life. It became second nature, but over time, I got sloppy. I left my phone out when Julian texted. I reused excuses without keeping track. I came home glowing after weekends with him. Michael never questioned me. He just kept being the same calm, supportive husband. And that convinced me he had no idea. What I didn't know was that he knew everything and had known for years. He was documenting, gathering proof, and waiting for the perfect time. Our 10th anniversary fell on a Tuesday. We celebrated the weekend before at a resort. Michael was unusually attentively in tastings, long dinners, even conversations about starting a family. He acted like the husband I'd always wished he could be. Then, the following Tuesday morning, the doorbell rang. A man in a suit handed me an envelope. Divorce papers. I laughed at first, thinking it had to be some clerical error. We had just celebrated our anniversary. Everything was fine. But when I opened the envelope, there it was, Michael's name, listed as petitioner, mine as recipient. That night, when Michael came home, I confronted him. Calmly, he admitted he'd known about Julian since the first year of our marriage. 8 years he had kept the secret, supporting me, smiling at me, while quietly collecting evidence. He told me he had waited until after our 10th anniversary because of the prenup. By then, with my ongoing infidelity, he was entitled to far more than half of everything. I felt sick. I had been playing checkers while he played chess, and I had lost. The weeks that followed were brutal. My attorney said the evidence was ironclad. There was no way out. Michael had thought of everything. My parents were devastated, not just by the divorce, but by the admission that I had been with Julian the whole time. Julian himself grew distant. Without the secrecy and thrill, our relationship crumbled. He eventually moved on. Michael, meanwhile, thrived. He walked away with the house, the assets, and the reputation of a wronged husband. Friends and colleagues praised his patience and intelligence. He started dating someone new, a woman who, by all accounts, gave him the honesty and devotion I never did. Now, at 31, I'm living in a small apartment, rebuilding my career, and facing the reality that I destroyed everything I thought I was controlling. Michael wasn't the naive husband I believed he was. He was sharper, colder, and infinitely more strategic. While I was living for the moment, he was planning the endgame, and he won. Some days, I try to blame him, to tell myself he was just as deceptive as I was. But the truth is, I made my choices. I chose to marry him while loving someone else. I chose to keep Julian in my life, instead of being honest. I thought I was outsmarting everyone, but really, I was only outsmarting myself. In the end, Michael didn't just beat me at a game I didn't know we were playing. He rewrote the rules, and now, I'm left with nothing but the reminder that I was never as clever as I believed.